Welcome to episode 128 of Anime and Us. I'm TJ.
And I'm Shawn.
And this is the review show that reviews anime from A to Z. Sort of.
Alright guys, we spun the wheel last episode for category E. Got Ellcia?
I guess, that's close.
Did they ever actually say it?
They said it a few times.
I can't remember. Is an anime OVA directed by Noriyasu Kogawa and animated by JC Staff. It was released in 1992 and consists of 4 50-minute episodes. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
ADV Films released to home video in America. ADV Films is a very popular, currently very popular anime studio. 1992, I guess they weren't doing very well.
I guess.
But it was not 4 50 minutes. One was like 45 minutes and the other two were like 38 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the last one was like 42 minutes or something like that.
That little paragraph that Shawn just read was the entire wiki.
Not even box art.
There's nothing.
Really weird. Really, really weird.
This is like the first time we ever got nothing from a Wikipedia page.
But the release schedule's weird. So like the first one was released on October 23, 1992. And the last one was released on September 23, 1993. So that's pretty much a whole year. 11 months.
Maybe it was...
for 5 episodes. So I guess that was just the project for the whole year, is just making really, quote-unquote, good anime. Not doing anything else.
Actually, it felt more like they were in a contract they were obligated to complete.
Yeah, probably. Because it was terrible. Don't watch it.
Nah, it was not worth your time.
Mind-numbingly boring. I know I've said that a lot, but that's it.
No, we usually say bad. Boring's different.
This was just... Nothing was interesting in it.
No,
a lot of times there'll be a good premise, or like there'll be a good part of the anime in one area. None of this was interesting.
I mean, it's all kind of very bland, because the art's not bad. It's just, like, average.
92, it's not bad. Yeah, I'd say it's average.
And even the voice acting, except for a few key people, we'll get to those in a moment. But even the voice acting...
Good for its time, I guess.
Yeah, it's not terrible. Everything's just...
The quality's not bad for voice acting. Like, the microphones were nice.
Right. It was all middle of the road. Everything. It was kind of like they phoned it in a little bit.
Yeah.
And first, it's got a lot of lore.
Yeah, they do this a lot with OVAs, don't they? I think we talked about this last time or a time before with Bastard.
Yeah.
Where it's like, there's so much deep lore, but like none of it matters because it's 4 episodes or whatever, however many episodes, and it doesn't go anywhere.
Right, there's like maps behind it, and there's like religious texts and everything behind it.
Multiple different religions.
Yeah, so it's like all this lore is here, but it's never touched upon.
And none of it's interesting.
You know what I didn't see on there? They didn't have a manga either, did it?
No. It seems like some OVAs are like that.
No, I know, I'm just saying, this is like one that's completely built from the ground up.
You know, some OVAs I would assume are like, alright, we're a new company, and this might be true for ADV, I don't know when they were created, or why they made this, but like, let's show what we can do.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That makes perfect sense. So it doesn't have a manga source because they couldn't pay for it, right? Let's show what we're capable of, and then maybe some people are going to want to come to us instead of us come to them. That makes perfect sense. But this is a terrible representation of what you can do, because it's not good.
Well, it's definitely not written well.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, everything else around the story is kind of average, but the story is bland. It's like evil people trying to take over the world.
Yeah, just random evil people from this one nation.
You know, God's got a couple weapons that you can use to stop it.
This ancient ship.
Alright, premise.
The God ship. There's some pirates on a weird metal boat that should not float, and it should float fine, but it shouldn't be sailing at all because it has no propulsion. It uses sails.
Yeah.
But it's solid metal. Doesn't make any sense.
There's a hodgepodge of technology in this, too. That's
weird. It's all kind of mashed up, and it just works. You don't question. It works.
Sure.
Well, anyway, there's a group of ragtag adventurer pirates. The main character's on there. I don't know any of their names. There's one girl that's on there who's clearly on hormone replacement therapy. She is on testosterone to the gills. Juice in it.
Yeah, she's very muscle bound, but she's drawn like a man.
Yeah, she's drawn like a man character with an ever so slightly feminine face.
Yeah, it's like they wanted this muscle bound woman, but they didn't really pull it off very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was bad.
It was like they drew.
Well, to be fair, they were all bad, but her in particular. They just poor execution.
They drew her like a man, but they only gave her like female hair and like makeup.
Yeah.
It's strange.
Then there's a couple characters there that I don't think were important. Like there's a little boy that's just kind of there,
It's actually, I think that was a girl.
And then there's like I hate to say it this way, but there's like this fat girl they're probably the same age.
That's a guy.
Son of a bitch.
Because the girl and the guy in that little epilogue you just watched had those kids.
Oh,
they were together. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Hang me now. Like, those are my kids. I'm done. But the fat kid is just so annoying.
Oh my god. It is it's unlistenable. You cannot. He is always screaming and crying, and it's so grating, and it's not funny. It's
supposed to be funny, and it's clearly supposed to be funny.
Yeah, but it's not. And there's like 4 kids, like tiny kids, like 5-year-olds on this pirate ship.
They're getting shot at and raiding other pirates reason. And stuff.
It's like, what are you doing with these kids?
It's a ragtag group. It's the poor man's straw man, or straw hats.
I guess, but they're like orphans and stuff. It's like an floating orphanage, essentially.
Speaking of pirates and the straw hats, we did a trunk or treat today. We did a trunk or treat today for my kids' Halloween, because it's right next to Halloween right now, and it was at school, and there were multiple Naruto characters. One other Goku, because I was dressed as Krillin, technically, not Goku. And there was a Straw Hat. There was a Luffy.
Luffy?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
You can't pull off Goku.
Well, I don't have hair for it.
You don't have hair.
Well, that's why I'm Krillin. There's a guy behind me in line, like, to get to the trunk or treat area. And he's like, you know who he is? Talking to me, to his kid. Talking to his kid about me. And he's like, no, who's that? He's like, that's Goku. And I turn back. I'm like, buddy, I don't have enough hair to be Goku. I'm Krillin. Anyway, back to the anime. Yeah, they're pirates, but you don't really see them in action except for like the first episode where I think they're raiding another pirate ship.
No, merchant ship,
but they're pirates. The people, like you saw the characters on there, they don't look like merchants. They look like pirates. They don't look like sailors. They look like pirates.
If you remember correctly in that episode, the other people looked like they were dressed in our time. Like that merchant ship, they were dressed in like the clothes you're wearing now.
Okay.
So,
God damn it. But that's the only time you see him in action.
Really, it's just the main character's a chosen one trope, and, she can control the ship of God, which is...
She's the only one that can control the ship of God.
Well, not technically, because that evil demon can too. Because he was a chosen one too. He's a demon.
Well, sure, but she's the one of her generation.
Yes. But, and the ship of God is just like a ship that has a face on it.
And it can swim through the seas, it can fly, and it can throw volcanoes.
Only after they visit the 3 islands and get the powers, just like
the shaman people.
From the Selkie people who are fish people, I think.
But he's like, the way the guy's like dressed, it's like, it feels like a shaman of the town. Well, so dumb. Oh.
It's very video game-ish for the middle of the thing. It's like,
and what's funny is, during the last climactic battle, they have visited the first shaman, so they have the ship and they can go through the water with it, and that's kind of it. And during the last battle, one of their guys, two of them technically, are on this little flying
because they have
plane type thing,
flying like ladybug things.
Yeah, they have like wings of bats. Or
They're just made of metal.
They're like little planes.
Yes.
And during the climactic battle, the people in this little plane, the 2 people, are going to each of the 2 other shaman people to get the blessing or whatever. It's so dumb.
No, I thought the same thing at first. I was like, how do they get to both islands when they're so far apart?
Well, I just assumed they were closer than...
No. So at the first island, they got it, and then they shoot that guy.
Yes, I remember.
But then...
My wife was watching at that point, and she was like, that was really violent.
Yeah, it's randomly violent.
They didn't just shoot him, they shot all the people he was with, too.
Yeah. It gets randomly violent for no reason at certain points. Mm-hmm. Like, there's one scene at the end where there's one girl, I don't even know who she was. I guess it was Crystal, the evil princess girl.
I think so.
By 2 graves, and she stands up and the wind just blows her dress so you can see her panties. That was the only time that happened in the entire show. I
think that's the only fan service.
Yeah, I was like
explicit fan service.
But she's at a graveyard visiting the graves of her dead sister and...
Panty shot.
Yeah, for no reason. It made no sense. And then there's this blood exploding out of people out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Anyway, back to the 2 islands. So they shoot those guys after they get the power to fly.
And the fight is happening.
Yes.
The big climactic battle.
And then the other flying ship from the new technologically flying ship, not the god ship, shows up from the bad guys, and they start attacking, but then they run from them, and they run from a long way. towards the next island. So they must have gotten to that next island.
But my point is, it's all during that last battle.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was just my point.
Okay.
It's not like they went and did all these things and then
okay.
then had the battle.
No, it's
like, we're just going to slowly fight this battle while you guys go power us up.
Yeah, that last battle lasted the rest of the entire show because it went from one fight with the...
That was a solid 30-40 minute battle.
From one antagonist who ends up getting killed and to the next antagonist because there's like 5 antagonists in this.
Yeah. The brother-sister, some demon guy, king...
Yeah, and
some weird servant. I want to say priest, but I don't know priest.
He was like
the blood book that he found.
Oh, the fat guy?
Yeah.
He's
with
just
stupid wimpy voice.
He was just a servant. He was a servant of the king. Yeah. They can go into it in more detail, but
I don't want to.
It's not good.
There's no reason to watch this. There's no even if you were a fan of ADV films, right? Like, and you're like, oh, they make quality content. I want to watch all the stuff they made. Don't watch this one.
You finished this 5 minutes before we started this. And I usually get this done in the beginning of the week. And I finished it 4 hours before we did this podcast.
And it's really only like 3 hours long.
Yeah, it's
not like a super long amount of time for
right. I just didn't
watching.
I didn't even want to watch it just to get it done. I was like, I'll just put this off. I never get like that.
Don't want to.
Exactly.
Want to.
Because that's how boring it was.
It's bad. I would give it... It's not middle of the road, it's worse than that. It's a 4 or a 3.
That's a 4 or 3, yeah. I was leaning towards a 4, but I think I can push it down to a 3.
I think I can push it pretty easily.
Yeah. But
I don't think it's worse than a 3, though.
No. It's okay in certain aspects of it. It's, like I said, it's just boring.
Yeah, there's no reason to watch it. There's no draw to it. And there's plenty of reasons to turn it off. 1 is it's boring. 2 is it's boring most of the time, and then it's bad. It never gets good.
Yeah, it's just got all of those fantasy tropes, like the Chosen One, and special powers and evil from another
special armor and sword.
Yeah,
it's bad. So 3 solid picture both of us. What else do we have for E?
All right, gotta go down the list now. Eden of the East.
We really need to start having a notepad out here. Yeah,
Eden of the East. X-Driver.
No.
Ellcia.
Oh.
You remember what that is?
But it sounds terrible.
It's the one where the guy...
Ellcia.
He's the guy that gets powers when he's not drunk. Remember the drunker he is, the less powers he has in the bugums?
Yes. We watched this last.
Yeah.
We watched this on me last.
Huh?
Alright, so X-Driver, Eden East, Hazard.
And then Endride.
And this is 5?
And this is 5.
Well, Eden East.
Obviously, I'm still surprised.
Still number 1. Nothing's even gotten close to it in E.
Yeah, and still surprised at how good that was.
We got so lucky, considering all the other E's we got. That first time, we got real lucky. Eden of the East, X-Driver, Hazard, Endride in this. I don't remember Endride, though.
No. Endride was way worse.
Alright, then this than Endride. I'll take your word for it.
Okay. But it's that one where it was the fantasy one with the 2 brothers, technically.
Oh, yeah. I'd watch this again before that.
It was really bad. Endride.
Alright, guys, we're spinning for category F. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Get it done. Let's see what we get. Just turn the volume up. Freezing.
Oh.
I don't know what that is. Just freezing.
Just freezing, yeah. I don't know what that is.
Huh.
Yeah.
F-R. Huh.
Well, that's interesting.
Oh, son of a... You know what we need to do, though? We need to see if the OVA came before the show. So we'll research that on our own, and then we'll tell you when we go to watch it.
12-episode anime, and
then a 6-episode OVA. But we don't actually know which was released first. It's just listed that way.
Yeah.
Almost every single time there's been an anime and an OVA, the OVA is always listed second.
Let's
talk about it first. Freezing action science fiction, clearly something from the 90s.
Oh yeah, the big-breasted woman on the front really tells you.
Well, just the art style. I was getting at. Set in a slightly futuristic world where Earth has been invaded and is at war with aliens from another dimension called the Nova. Why aliens from another dimension? Why not just aliens?
Because everyone does aliens.
The story follows the adventures of a Japanese boy named Kazuya I don't know, who enrolls for training at a special school for genetically modified girls. He enrolls at a school for genetically modified girls.
What?
We both had the same look on our face. called Pandoras who battle the aliens. It's a really long sentence, by the way. And their male partners, called limiters, who use a special power called freezing to limit their opponent's mobility. Finally, end of sentence. The protagonist makes the acquaintance of an unusual older girl named Bridget L. Satelizer? 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 Maybe Satelizer. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Who appears to be the most powerful Pandora in her class, but has not yet chosen a male partner to be her limiter. Oh, so they have to pair up with dudes. Well, that's not really a girls' school then, is it? It's a co-ed school.
Yeah.
And in spite of the warnings of all her friends, he decides to be her limiter.
So, I'm getting this is like...
There's been 21 shares of this. So, like most anything on the internet now, you can share it. Like, there's a dedicated share button for all the different social medias, and it shows you how many times it's been shared or tweeted. 21 times. We should probably mention that from now on. I feel like that's an interesting thing, like how many people have watched it from this site specifically.
But now we don't have any context from how it's supposed to be.
The only way to start that context is to start it.
Yeah. But it's just now we watch so many good anime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, one way to know. Anyway, guys, so there's a 6-episode OVA and then there's a 12-episode show season.
I want to point out that description reminds me of that stupid Black Bullet. Like, this is a reverse of that Black Bullet with the little girls.
Thinking exactly the same thing.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's not that.
Although it's pretty... We haven't gotten a whole lot of them. It seems to be pretty common in anime for male women and to pair up and one's fighting and one's helping. I've seen that a few times.
Yeah, I guess.
But like I sasaid, so there's 6-episode OVA, then there's a 12-episode season. We're going to look and see which one we should watch first, and we'll just watch whichever one came out first, whether that's the 12 episodes or the 6 episodes.
I'm probably going to get the 12 episodes.
Really hope it's the 6. All right, guys. Next episode, Freezing.
Bye.
See ya.